What's a happening, nerds? This is John, nerding out with cards. This is kind of an unexpected video, one that I did not plan on making, but I figure I just kind of get my thoughts out there because a lot of this stuff I think is just overblown, flat out. But anyway, Chris from Missouri, even though he pronounces it wrong, he says Missouri. It must be because he's from like the wrong side of the state or something. But anyway, he did a video earlier. I think a lot of people have seen it. Where he's just kind of getting his thoughts out there about a lot of these topical videos, which I usually stray away from. But at the same time, I do respect Chris. Never met him, but I do respect his thoughts and his reasonings behind them. He articulated those in his video, and then later on he was a guest. Where he on the Get Off My Lawn video series that's going on, and he got to explain a little bit further, and it made even more sense why he was saying what he was saying. A lot of people are turned off by the topical news videos, the this and the that, and all the negativity, here on the YouTube and everything. And so, again, usually I just don't even get into that stuff. But a couple beers in or something, and I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of shoot from the hip, and kind of give my thoughts onto that. And I think it's most like anything else, right? There's one of the things that gets talked about is, well, the drama, if that's what you want to call it, which honestly I hate that term, but whatever. It is what it is. A lot of the negativity, that's what gets the views, right? And if that's what's important to you, and that's what people want, of course that's the content you're going to make, right? And I'm not going to name any big names or anything like that, but there are big names that do get a lot more views. They have a lot more reach, and good for them. I think I've done a pretty good job of staying true to myself. What I want to talk about, what I enjoy doing, not what I think is important. And that's another thing is a lot of these negativity, quote unquote, videos that people are referring to. These are all opinion-based videos, and myself, I cannot speak to those things. That's why I don't do a lot of videos regarding certain topics. All right, I'll shoot a picture up here, but like the shill bidding stuff, you can see the kind of cards that I'm buying at the prices that I'm buying them at. It is something that just does not apply to me with where I'm at. I cannot speak to those things, so I don't make videos about it. The grading stuff, I did a grading video once before. I'm not going to do it again. Yes, it is the most successful, based on views, metrics, video that I've done on my channel. But that's not fun for me. I told the story, I said it, and in subsequent videos, it's quite clear. I collect mostly ungraded cards. In my last video, I said that I got a certain card. It was ungraded. That's my preference. That's all that needs to be said. I don't need to talk any more about grading than what I've already done. A lot of people do like grading, though. So it's not my place to impose my beliefs or whatever you want to call it on another person. My stance is, I think, quite clear. And I prefer ungraded cards. A lot of people do. And so when I show the cards that I show, when I do make a reference as far as preferring ungraded cards. It's more so for like, the collectors that do prefer ungraded cards. Like, hey, there's another person out there. I was watching a video with Big Scott, and he had Because I'm Carlos on his channel, and it was, are we responsible for what we say? Of course we are. There are people losing their jobs because of what they say on social media. There's people losing their jobs because of their belief systems. There's people losing their jobs because of pictures. I mean, come on. Of course we are. Now, you get a smaller channel like myself, and Carlos referenced this, you have more liberties to say what you want to say because your reach is so much shorter. But at the same time, like, yes, we are all responsible for what we say or don't say. I mean, there's another aspect to that. I know Greg over at Midlife Cards has been asked numerous times, like, why doesn't he take a stance on something because of his reach? And he stated why he doesn't do certain things. And, it's his channel, it's his voice. And, certainly, like, you got to be comfortable with what you're saying. But, and one of the things that I've heard a lot of times is, well, the negativity gets all the views, all of these things. And I can honestly say that while like the views and the comments and the likes, like, that's cool, because it's more like a reassurance that I'm not a dumbass kind of thing, or that other people are digging it kind of thing. Like, I didn't even mention it in my last video, but I reached 300 subscribers. I think that's a lot. And it's a cool milestone. It really is. But at the same time, it's, I don't want to achieve certain milestones by selling out. I really don't know a better way to describe it right now. But anyway, like I said, this is all off the hip, but that happened. That's great. And I'll post a video and it gets a lot of comments, a lot of regular comments by, regular people anyway. And I love that because it's kind of like developing relationships in a sense. So then anyway, what is all this rambling about? But the, it's this, well, that gets all the views, that gets all the views, that gets all the views. And I haven't really centered myself around views. One of my favorite things that I've been doing more so regularly over the last, 4 weeks or so, because I've done 4 episodes of it, is my Ozzie Smith weekend. That gets, in like my last video, because I haven't put these cards away, was just these fun cards, of Ozzie Smith. But the Ozzie Smith weekend videos gets the least amount of views, but those are also like my most fun videos to make because I love that collection. I've been collecting Ozzie Smith since '92. It's 2025, for crying out loud, almost 2026, and I love that collection. I'm at 881 cards publicly. Check into the next Ozzie Smith weekend video. You might find out more. Anyway, I love doing those videos, and so it gets fewer views. So what? But at the same time, I do understand why that's important to people. All right, moving on from that though. One of the things that I hear repetitively is that it's all these topical videos, it's the negative videos, and that's what people are gravitated towards. Where the collectors, used to be nothing but collector videos and collections and collections and collections. All I'm saying is there's plenty of us out there that's what we do. If people really, really wanted to watch that, I would say that we would get more views, but that's not what people want to watch. I can think of And I did get cards out for this, and it's not all encompassing. There's going to be people I leave out, and I do apologize to anybody that feels left out. But I just quickly grabbed some cards. It took me a couple minutes just to kind of get this video going. So I think of Ray from Philly. He's doing, and he's a part of that Hall of Fame thing, right? Which is why I got this card out, because I hope he gets elected next year. My guy, Jeff, fine card collector. So I had to get a Cubs card out. I don't have Cubs cards, man. Although he's a better collector than me because he does have Cardinals cards, right? But think about like Buxton 6. That dude shows nothing but cards that he actively collects. He doesn't get anything else but his collection, right? And he's a hockey fan showing Canucks cards. So I got a hockey card right here. Hugo, Signs of the Pastime, doing that on the site stuff. You got Shane Shoebox Legends. Again, he does nothing but show cards in his collection. So my Mule Suttles card that he inspired me to purchase. We got commenters that all they care about are collections. Sven. And yeah, a lot of these cards are going to be repetitive. And hey, for Sven, I'm making that little note just so Hank Bauer is on the screen even longer. You think of Steve over at Steve's Hobbies. This guy, he inspired me to get on the Topps Gold Run train with one of my all-time favorite players, Yadier Molina. John over at JW's Dugout. This is a card that he sent me. Red Shandies. You got Theo over at Clemente Collector. I just love showing this card. It's my favorite, Ken Boyer card. So, but he's always showing off his Ken Boyer collection. What about Rob over at Cash Cards? That guy's awesome. Absolutely awesome, right? Here's my Ken Boyer 1965 O-Pee-Chee. Vintage card Wonderland. Here's my Ken Boyer Venezuelan card. And he did help inspire that purchase. Brent Richards showing off amazing cards all the time. And he helped me pull the trigger on this card. You got Tony, Southern Collector, his autograph collection. And I got my Ozzie Smith autograph card. Now, he didn't really inspire this, but it's just one of those things. Like, he's showing off all, his awesome collection all the time. So there's definitely enough collector videos out there, and at the same time, there's tons of fun videos, like I got to watch a interview with, Brian Capel over, Relief, his book, Todd Markham's book, Cards to the Edge of War. Victor put himself out there, made this book, he's got a passion for rookie cards. Everybody loves his 300 greatest cards collection. So I bought this book just to check it out, see what cards I have from it. Not that I'm collecting cards in it, but it was, kind of neat that there's cards I have that are within this collection, to include Ozzie Smith's rookie card, of course, because it's the greatest rookie card ever made. But it's just one of those things, right? And there's tons of collector videos out there. I watch them all the time. Like, I don't have cards out here for these guys, but think about like Rev Steve's cards. That guy's doing amazing stuff. Tony Talks cards. The guy's doing amazing stuff. Andy's Attic. Amazing stuff. There's so much out there. If I'm not in the mood to watch a grading video, I just won't watch it. Although, like, I know Joe over at Redneck Collector, he loves graded cards. I still watch his channel. He still comes out with great videos. Justin over at Go Crazy Car Collecting. Amazing videos. I wish he'd make more. We haven't seen a video, at least I haven't seen a video in quite a while from, shit. The name is at like the tip of my tongue. But anyway, I'll I'll just move forward. I'll put his channel, here where this gap, awkward gap is, right? But at the same time, like, I feel like, yes, there are inspired cards within this stack, but I've stayed true to myself. I got these base cards of Yadier Molina in my collection, because I like those, right? But I think the summary of all of this is all of this shit's overblown. The grading stuff was all anything and everything people could talk about. And then people started complaining that that's all that everybody was talking about. So then people moved on to other stuff, which was requested. And then it turned into, the show bidding stuff or the Propstein. I don't even know who the hell Propstein is. That shows how disconnected I am, right? There's always something going on with PSA. It doesn't matter, right? All this shit's overblown because next month it's going to be something else. And then the month after that, it's going to be something else. It's just because, that there are channels that are into like the news of the hobby. And I think for a lot of people, the news of the hobby matters. It's just, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, those things, I don't feel affect me, right? So I just don't care. And people say, oh, well, it does affect you because of X, Y, and Z. And they could be right, or I could be right, in that they actually don't affect me. But the fact of the matter is, the shit's overblown. If you don't like it, scroll on by. Scroll on by. Scroll on by. Like, Greg says that all the time. If you don't like it, just scroll. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Getting here on the YouTube has just been a mechanism to share what I collect and why I collect them. And I was just talking about collecting Redmans without tabs. A lot of people differ. I collect ungraded cards. A lot of people differ. I collect Cardinals. A lot of people don't. Like, I collect Ozzie Smith. That's very much junk wax era stuff. A lot of people don't. They collect vintage only, or it just kind of is what it is. But definitely this negativity stuff, the negativity only enters if you allow it to enter. If you open the door, it's going to walk on in. It doesn't affect me. If anything, it makes it easier for me to catch up on content because I know that Steve over at Rev Steve's Card's not going to get into this stuff. So I watch his video. Again, Tony, Jeff, all these guys that, they're the channels that I've already named, and I'll put their channel descriptions down below as well. And if there's any more that, that pop off while I'm doing the thing, I'll list those as well. They're like, there's Ethan, and his channel is totally different. There's all the TTMers out there, that huge community, which is gaining popularity. You want to learn about something, go watch those videos. But it's, if the negativity is getting you down, just don't watch it. There's plenty of other stuff out there. There's plenty of other people out there, and I just kind of felt like, I don't know if all that makes sense. I'll review this before I post it and everything, but it's just kind of what I think, and these are the ways that I nerd out, and you hear me say that all the time. Like, this is how I'm nerding out. You nerd your own way, which is funny because Mangini, he commented, he's like, oh, it reminds me of a song. I'm like, and I'm an idiot, right? And I'm like, oh, what song? And it's Fleetwood Mac's Go Your Own Way. So now I can't get that out of my head. But it's one of the taglines was, collect what you like, right? And that's similar to what I say, right? Nerd your own way. Or nerd your own way. I'm not a good singer. But I think it's a true statement. Like, uh, I watch YouTube more than I watch normal TV, because I find this stuff entertaining. I like this stuff, especially now that I've been doing videos more. But only watch what you want, you know. Just like with, PSA, SGC, or whatever, whoever you like, that's who you give your money to, right? And the channels that you want to watch, that's who you give your time to. So, your time and your money, only put them where they belong, if that makes sense. My channel might not be it, and that's fine. But again, there's plenty of other channels that are not into the negativity that you can give your time to. So go nerd out that way. I'll keep nerding out my way. You nerd out your own way.